Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum, and today in this video folks, I'm going to be showing you how to build this mobile taming trap. And as you can see in it at this current time, I have a Spino. Now this trap can be used to trap Spinos, to trap Karkinoses, as well as other large creatures. So up to this point, I have tested out several designs for a mobile trap. Obviously it is built on top of a raft, and of all the designs that I've tried out, this one seems to be the best, as it is multifunctional and you can use it for the majority of the large creatures that roam around the rivers and lakes in Ark Aberration. The initial idea behind the trap was to create a mobile trap to trap Karkinos, as they all seem to be around the water. So that means it has to be narrow so that you can navigate the rivers as well as the lakes around the Aberration map. So as you've seen, the Spino is well trapped in this trap, and I suppose this would be the cover shot if this was a magazine. However, it won't always work out this way, and I will show you what to do in those circumstances later on in the video. So the first part of the video will be how to build this particular trap, and I will walk you through it and what you need to know. So if you guys enjoy this video and or find it useful, please don't forget to support me by hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and why not check out some of my other helpful videos and tutorials. Who knows, you might just enjoy them. Okay, so first things first, I am going to take some parts off of this original trap, and I'm going to take the ladders off, and as you can see, they are metal ladders, and that is the only metal structure that you'll need for this trap. Also, throughout the build, you will see me use the S Plus gun, and that is just simply out of convenience. I find it easier to work with. However, everything else in this trap is vanilla. And that's all to keep it nice and relevant to official servers as well. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to sink the foundations 3 levels lower. And what we're going to do that is we're going to get a pillar out. So for this first part, I recommend using wood pillars as they're easier to make. Grab the rudder, just center it, and then we'll put the pillar just where the cells were. So that's the first pillar put down. Then we'll place another pillar down to the closest snapping point of the first pillar, and remove the first pillar and place down another pillar where the first pillar was initially placed. So this means we will have sunk the foundations 3 times. Then remove the second pillar, and we'll start by placing down the foundations. After placing down the first foundation in the center of the raft, you will want to remove that final pillar, and then we can put down all the other foundations, as they should snap on into the right place. So you should be able to fit a design of 3 by 3 foundations. We're going to leave the rudder area open as it is, and we are going to place a ramp here to prevent us from falling down into the water every time. This will also allow us access to the raft if we do fall in the water from underneath the raft. Then on both ends of the raft we will place 3 ceilings, and at the back we will put an additional 2 ceilings on either side of the raft, leaving the center empty. And that is because there we will be placing another ramp. And as you can see here, it may be a bit fiddly to get it right. However, this ramp will also be a ramp which we can access the raft or get on top of the raft if we do fall in the water. Also, I'm going to show you how to access it from underneath. So you'll want to come here and then press E. You'll basically get on the raft, and then you can let go of the rudder and you're back on the raft. So that way we have 2 ways of getting on our raft if we do fall in the water. So now we're going to do the cabin. So we're going to use full walls for this bottom section. Then we will use doorways for the next level. So this will allow us to shoot trank darts or trank arrows at Spinos or other creatures. However, do bear in mind that Spinos can hit you through the structures. However, the most important role of this cabin is to actually protect the raft from being hit by the Spino, as we have not placed a foundation there so that we can access the rudder. Also, it is important to know that if you do sink the foundations any lower, the Spino does seem to be able to hit the raft through the foundations, which is why we only went or lowered the foundations 3 times. At the front end of the raft, we will be placing doorways and we will be going 5 tall. And that is to keep the spinal from derping out, well, as much as we can. And we will be placing the doorways on either side of the raft, so that should leave us 1 foundation gap. After that, we will place the doorways on the side of the raft. So this will pretty much close off the trap. And I've just realized that I have made a big boo-boo here. We do want to keep a single foundation gap between each of the doorways. So I am going to quickly pick up all the doorways that I have misplaced, and I'll show you how to place them correctly. So we want to place it right there, so that'll leave us a foundation or ceiling gap, seeing as the front of the raft is ceilings. And again, we will go 5 tall on these as well. We will place on top of the cabin another doorway. We won't go any taller because that will be the area where the boulders will be coming from when we want to tame a Karkinos. So we do need an opening. Now we want to put ceilings at the top there to keep stuff in, particularly the Karkinos. And obviously, as you've seen, I can't reach it, so we're going to go to the back here. We're going to put some pillars, and we will go 4 tall on this. And there we go. At the top, we will place a ceiling. So you might need to jump a bit to get it to snap to the top part of the pillars. There we go. Then we'll put another ceiling like so, after which we will attach another 2 ceilings on the width of the raft, so that should be a total of 3 ceilings, and finish it off with another ceiling going towards the back of the raft just to keep the symmetry. Okay, so at this point we want to place the ladders, and we are going to be using metal ladders, and that is simply because the spino does reach at this end and it will damage the wooden ladder. So do make sure you snap the ladder to the edge of the final ceiling that we have just placed. It does have 2 snapping points, so you might need to cycle through the snapping points. We want to place it there, so as far out as possible. So you'll need a total of 4 metal ladders that will allow us access to the top and to the catapult when we need it for the Karkinos. Here at this end we can place a bed. However, I do personally recommend putting down sleeping bags as they will get damaged by the spino. On this end we will put the catapult, which I will equip now. It doesn't really matter which way it's going to be facing, but we do want to center it with the ceiling tile, and that is because by placing it there you will be able to fire into the taming cage whilst keeping it out of range of the Karkinos. Now we're going to place 2 ceilings on top of the cabin, finish off the doorways that we didn't if we couldn't reach them, and we'll finish off by putting 2 ceilings on top of the front doorways, and that is to close off the taming cage. Now you don't have to do this. It might actually work better without those. However, the reason I put them down there is to keep the Karkinos from being able to get back out. That does also mean that the Karkinos does seem to snag on to the ceilings, and I think that is because of the size of the hitbox on the Karkinos' pincers. Now, while it does snag onto the ceilings, which is sometimes a bit of an inconvenience, it is not able to get back out. Okay, so I'm quickly going to show you what the finished raft should look like. And as you can see, it is a fairly narrow raft, so that will allow us to navigate the rivers. You can also use this design in the lake areas or the deeper ends. However, if you'll use this raft in the deeper ends, know that you will have to kite whatever creature you want onto the edge of the water so that you can trap it. So I was just about to go and tame some creatures to show you guys how to use this particular raft. However, this wonderful creature has walked into the trap, and the way it works is when you get on the raft, creatures can go through the structures. The moment you dismount the raft, creatures will be stuck in the structures, particularly in the taming cage. And as you can see, it is not able to get out once it is in the taming cage, and that'll make it an easy job for taming. Okay, so I've spotted a spinal that I want. The very first thing you'll want to do is get rid of these annoying creatures, and I mean the Sarcos, as it seems that Spinos and Karkinos seem to be at war, or seem to fight Sarcos and Piranhas. So Piranhas aren't the worry at the moment, it's the Sarcos, and that is what we will want to get rid of as quick as possible, especially when you've seen a Spino that you want. Now, for some reason, the Sarcos do seem to be quite powerful on Aberration, and I do kill quite a lot of Spinos, including high level ones. So I'm going to try and tame that Spino there. However, there are some Sarcos there in the water. I'm going to try and get rid of them, or maybe not. It seems like the Spino wants my attention. I mean, it's not one that I want to keep, but I'm going to show you how to trap it nonetheless. So in this particular circumstance, the Spino is aggroed on the raft. Do not panic. You will not be able to get it into the taming cage whilst the Spino is aggroed onto the raft, so the only option is to make your way back up the river that you came from, as that would probably be cleared out. And once it loses aggro, then we will start trying to get it into the taming cage. So once the Spino has lost aggro, just turn the raft around. And what we'll want to do is we want to center the taming cage with the center of the Spino's body. So let's have a look. You want to slow down when you get close to the Spino, so slowly make your way towards the Spino. Once it is in, release the raft and it should be trapped. Now the Spino can hit you pretty much anywhere on the raft unless you are sat on this particular ramp where I am now, and you want to be on the middle of the ramp. So if you look to the right where we put the pillars, you want to be right in line with those pillars. Obviously this is a low level Spino, so I don't really want to keep it, but I am going to tame it using the vanilla stuff just to show you that it cannot get out, it can be done. And as I said at the beginning of the video, that was, I suppose, the cover shot. This is what it will look like 9 times out of 10, and to some extent it will work to our benefit. And what I mean by that is once the Spino is knocked out, it will go underwater, so its body will be concealed by the raft, which means that Sarcos and Piranhas will not aggro on the Spino whilst it is being tamed. So it does actually work in our benefit, and as you can see, the Spino is well and truly stuck in there, and this does take some practice, guys. You will need to learn. It is a bit of a learning curve in terms of getting it right. You might have to try a couple of times, you might lose a couple of times until you get the hang of it. And while this can be done solo, I do recommend that you bring some friends to help you clear out the Sarcos, as they can be quite annoying. Okay, so I didn't keep that Spino, I did kill it in the end. But before me there are 2 Spinos and a Karkinos and some Sarcos in the water, which does complicate the situation a bit. However, as you can see, there is a Sarco, a Spino there that I want to tame. Now this is going to be a bit challenging because there's quite a few creatures, so I'm going to have to be very careful, and I'm going to try and get that red Spino. I will want to keep it for my playthrough series, which will start on the channel fairly soonish. I just need to edit those episodes. So that's the one I want, the one with the red sail, and that's the one that is the level 100. So probably going to want to keep that guy. And as you can see, one common thing that will happen with the Spinos is that they will derp out and end up on top of the raft. Again, do not panic yourself, just keep moving the raft until it falls off and do what we did before. Move out of range, then keep trying to trap it. Now, Spinos do tend to derp out, and I think it is possibly because of their size. And there we go. It's managed to get on top of the trap. I mean, on the bright side, whilst it's on the top of the trap, it's not in the water, and therefore it's not getting attacked by piranhas. So there is a bright side to this. Okay, it's fallen off. So I'm going to try and align the raft again. At this point, I only want to trap the red Spino in the taming cage. And I also think that because there are two Spinos, they do tend to push each other out of the taming raft. So do be careful with that. Okay, so the green one's out. Where's the red one? The red one's in the trap, just the way we want him. He should be okay there. Now we need to deal with the Karkinos and the Spinos. So the first thing I'm going to deal with is that Karkinos. The damage you see is on the wooden ramp, so you can use metal ramps if you want to prevent the creatures from damaging your ramps. I don't really mind repairing them. I'm just keeping an eye on the other Spinos as well. So I'll quickly dispatch all this Karkinos. It is a low level, so I wouldn't want to keep it anyways. Okay, nearly dead. Okay, it's running away. I just want to see how much health it's got left. Okay, I'm definitely not going to let this one live because it might come back. So, let us dispatch of this crab. There we go. One crab down. That leaves one Spino to deal with. So I need to figure out where that Spino's gone to. Our Spino is stuck in the raft. It seems like the other Spino has dispatched of the Sarco, so that has simplified our jobs. Whoa, easy buddy. Now for some reason, as you can see, they don't seem to be able to hit me whilst I'm in the cabin if the Spino is out of the taming cage. However, when they are on the raft, they seem to be able to hit you, which is a bit annoying. I don't really get the mechanics of that. And like I said, this comes with practice and learning what works on this raft. Now, the Spino seems to have aggroed on the taming raft. That is what we want. It is focused on a taming raft. Now it's come up through the foundations and ceilings. So I'm going to position myself here on the raft so it does not reach me. And as you've seen, I don't have any god mode on. I don't have infinite stats. I am doing this genuinely because my food has gone down and so has my health, and you may need to move around a bit from time to time and adjust your position depending on what the Spino is doing. However, as you can see, it is well and truly trapped now and it can't go anywhere. I'm going to use some of the vanilla arrows and probably finish it off with a super trank arrow, which I have on the server. And as I said before, I'm going to keep this particular Spino for breeding purposes, as I will be doing, or I have started a playthrough for Aberration. I just need to start editing the episodes, and I'm probably going to use Spinos to defeat the final boss. So I think I am going to swap to the more powerful stuff and knock it out quickly. And that should do. And now our Spino is concealed by the raft under which it has fallen. Okay, so now with the complicated stuff out of the way, and yes, taming a Spino with this raft can be quite complicated, and that is because they are quite mobile. So it does take a bit of time until you trap it. Now let's tame a Karkinos, and this is actually the easiest one to do. Karkinos and all the other creatures are actually quite easy to get into the trap. So the way to align the raft is to center the center of the taming cage with the Karkinos' body, then let go of the rudder, and at that point the Karkinos should pop into the taming cage. It does work better if the Karkinos is on the shore and not in the deep end, but as you've seen just there, it does also work in the deep end. Sometimes though it may be a bit fiddly. Now the Karkinos, once its torpor goes high, it will just want to run away. At this point it is fairly harmless, and as you saw when the Karkinos went into the trap, it did snag onto the ceilings, and that is why I said at the beginning of this video you don't necessarily have to place them. However, notice it is unable to get itself out. And in order to tame the Karkinos, you will need to use the catapult and have boulders loaded into the catapult. You can craft catapult boulders by placing stone and metal ingots in the catapult, and that is how you craft them. And you need to aim for the creature's body, not the legs or the pincers. So if you do hit the pincers or the legs or any other part of the body apart from the torso or head, you will do damage to the Karkinos without applying torpor. Additionally, when the Karkinos start wandering around the taming cage aimlessly, you'll know that its torpor is high and it is just wanting to get away. So of course that means that the Karkinos is at this point in time fairly harmless, as it is only trying to make a run for it. And that is why I placed the ceiling. So it does get a bit fiddly here, and I'm going to try and punch it back into the cage. I don't really want to use the catapult to knock it back into the cage, although that is an option. It is quite effective, and that is simply because I want it to have as much health as possible when it's knocked out. So I'm going to try and punch it back into position. It might not work. Two things to know at this point. First one is, whilst it's doing this, it is not going to attack you because the Karkinos wants to get away due to its high torpor. And the second thing is, I don't recommend you use a catapult to continue knocking it out until it is back in position, because the chances are that you might hit something else other than its body, and if you do that you will do damage to its health without actually applying torpor. So I am going to try and maneuver around it, and as you maneuver around it, as you can see, it's not trying to attack me. You will find that you will hit invisible structures and stuff, and that I think are the hitboxes of the Karkinos' legs. I am going to risk it here. It does seem like it has quite a significant amount of health left, and I'm probably going to use the catapult. Yeah, it's not coming back down, so I'm going to use the catapult. Now normally one hit does tend to knock them back into place, but it also does do a lot of damage if you hit the leg. So I'm going to try and aim for the body whilst doing this and hope that I don't hit the legs. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It does seem to have quite a significant amount of health left. There we go. That is our Karkinos knocked back into place. I did try the other options because they do less damage to it. I want to see how it's doing for torpor, because this is another creature that I want to keep. And there it goes. Whoops, I fell down into the water, and that's why we have the ramps. Oh, I got knocked off by a piranha. Brilliant. Okay, never mind. So that is it. There's your Karkinos. It is down. Now you can use spoiled meat to tame it. It does like spoiled meat. And you can also use the turtle kibble. If you don't have turtle egg kibble like I do for this particular tame, you can also place the spoiled meat in. And it is quite effective on spoiled meat. It is actually the second thing it likes best. So a fairly easy tame once you have knocked it out. So the taming raft that I've shown you in this video is my personal design, and I prefer it this way because it is narrower. However, you can widen the taming cage by placing down ceilings on the side. That does mean, of course, that you will need several more doorways to place down. and I would probably recommend placing them down on either side of the cabin. So that is to keep stuff in. Remember, you need to have one foundation or ceiling tile distance or gap between each doorway. Also remember that if you do lower your foundations any more than 3 times, there is a chance that Spinos will be able to hit the raft through the foundations and ceilings. So whilst the Karkinos is taming, it is unlikely that it will be attacked by wild Karkinoses and wild Spinos. However, you will need to pay attention to Sarcos, so you will need to defend it from Sarcos, as those are the only creatures that would most likely attack your tame. That, and of course possibly Ravagers, so do keep an eye out for them. Do try and take them out before they get close to your tame. That is it for this video, folks. I do hope that you find the information in this video useful. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to support me by hitting that like button. It does help me out a great deal. And if you're new to the channel, why not subscribe and check out some of my other videos? Who knows, you might just enjoy them. Until next time, stay safe, folks.